I know this is different from what you usually see from me, so if you're looking for a laugh, you can avoid this video. I'm just going to be complaining for a little bit here. My goal with this video is to make Red Dead Online way better, okay? That's all I want. I just want Red Dead Online to be so cool because I've been playing it recently, and some things really ticked me off. So I hope these things get changed, and I'm going to complain about them. Also, the order in which I discuss these things does not mean that's how important they are. Like, the most important thing could be at the last part of the video. Who knows? Just order does not mean importance as far as my critique is concerned. Now, with that said, let's start with the most important part of the video. Rockstar, remove the speed changes that you made a few months back. Just undo them. Revert it back to how it was. What do I mean by the speed changes? Well, Rockstar removed animations and they made your character a lot faster than they used to be in the earlier version of Red Dead Online. Perfect example of this is the walking animation. So, in the single player, when you're walking as Arthur, he looks okay. He's fine. He's chill. He's walking, right? You look like you're just enjoying your day, walking down the street. Now, contrast that with online, your character, he looks like he's stressed out and he's got somewhere to be. Rockstar, if I am walking, I do not have somewhere to be. I will run there. Walking should not make me look like I'm hurrying to get somewhere. Now sure, if you want to walk just like you do in single player, you can hold your analog stick at a smaller degree than you would doing it all the way. However, this is terrible because I don't want to try to finesse my analog stick just to walk like a normal person, okay? This is especially true when you're turning your camera around. You will not be able to get that perfect threshold of your character walking at a normal pace while you are able to look 360 degrees around you. You just won't. Your character will either speed up or slow down because you did not hit the perfect threshold of the amount of degrees you have to hold your analog stick. It's terrible. And I can't even imagine what people on PC do when they have a binary W to press and they literally have no option but to walk around in a hurried manner everywhere they go. Now, out of every problem I could have with Red Dead Online, you're probably wondering why my number one issue was how fast your character walks. And I'll tell you why. What your character looks like while they are doing something sets the tone for the game. If you are just walking at your regular pace, and by, walking at a regular pace, I mean holding the analog stick all the way down without pressing it to sprint. When you're walking and your character is moving in a hurried fashion, then that subconsciously tells you, that sets the tone, that everything you need to be doing needs to be rushed. Which I think is the exact opposite of what the entire point of Red Dead Online is. The point is, you're supposed to stop and take everything in. You're supposed to pick up people who might need a ride to Valentine. Maybe stop by and freaking smell the flowers. I know how corny that sounds, but maybe you could see an aggressive posse in Blackwater and talk to them rather than just shooting them because you want to get everything over with. And again, you're not sure if they're actually going to shoot you, but you can just quickly hurry and get it over with by shooting them. All because your character is telling you, I've got something important to do, so let's get this over with. Let's hurry. And again, I know it sounds kind of silly, but some of the most fun I've had in this game is just holding the analog stick forward and taking everything in. And I think that's the most important thing, and a lot of other players could learn that as well, just by looking at the way their character is walking. They can maybe appreciate just holding the W button, just holding the analog stick forward, and taking the world. It's so beautiful, and it's almost wasted with how Rockstar is trying to tell people to, come on everybody, let's hurry up and let's get everything all going, let's do this, let's do that. No, I do not want to do that, Rockstar. I just want to walk at a reasonable pace. Revert the speed changes, make it just like it is in single player. It's that simple. I'm looking at my list right now of all the changes I want them to make in Red Dead Online, and that was literally one bullet point on the list, so hopefully the rest don't take that long, but a few more will be under the Revert speed changes category anyway, so hopefully we'll be able to speed through those ones. Since I already talked about walking now, I think it's only fitting that I talk about running in Red Dead Online. Again, you run faster in multiplayer than you do in single player. Red Dead Online needs to revert this, change it back. When you are sprinting at a faster speed, I think it's around 15% faster, it makes your character look a whole lot more janky than you do in single player. This problem gets especially worse when you take into account the latency. When people are sprinting at 15% faster, they start teleporting around and things don't exactly add up server side as they look client side. So slowing people down at full sprint would make things a whole lot easier rather than seeing people teleport a few feet from where they were previously. The speed changes are even worse when it comes to being submersed in chest-high water. In the single player, the fastest I can go is this speed. This is normal, this is okay. But in multiplayer, my guy is gliding through the water as if it's not even there. Just look at him. When I'm going on an expedition in the swamp and I'm wading through chest-high water, I should be scared. But I'm not, because I can just breeze through the water so fast that alligators won't even be able to catch up. Rockstar, revert the speed changes and make it just like it was in single player. You will add immersion back into your game that way. Do it. Oh yeah, another awful decision that they decided to make was when they did the speed changes, they also removed looting animations from dead bodies. So rather than looting them like you normally do in single player, you will just hunker down and swipe your hand. That's it. Bruh. Rockstar, I want to be in this world. Immerse me in the world. Do not remove animations that were once there. You had this earlier in Red Dead Online. Put it back. Oh, and speaking of animations, the most important animations of them all, arguably, are gone in online. And I'm sure those of you who've played single player and online know exactly what I'm talking about. The weapon swap animations. Now you might be thinking, oh, it's a lot harder to do that in online than it is in single player. And actually, no it isn't, because Rockstar already has the animations online. If you want to test this yourself, and you're a collector, just walk up to any comb or heirloom or card, hold out your weapon, and pick up the card, and your character will holster their pistol or sling their weapon over their back exactly like you do in single player. I'll take my pistol and I'll holster it. And it's not an issue with other players viewing it either, because they see you holster your pistol normally and sling your weapon over your back normally as well. Now I heard through the grapevine that Rockstar doesn't have these animations because of the female models in the game. They don't want to adjust for some reason. I'm not 100% sure what technical issues they might be having. And I actually tested it myself. The female models do not work when they are trying to do this. They won't sling the weapon over their back, and I don't think they'll holster their pistol properly either. Personally, I think Rockstar can add these animations to females. They're just being really lazy and they don't want to bother because they're not going to make money. How do I know this? Well, the exact same emotes that are available to male models are also available to the female models, every single one. Rockstar, since you're able to make top quality animations for men and women, you can do the same for the holster and the slinging weapons over your back animations as well. You can make them for women. I'm sure you have the capability. Add it into online so everybody can benefit. Please. Oh, and on the topic of weapon holstering, the animations where you take weapons from your horse's saddle are just gone in online, and I see zero reason for it. So Rockstar, just bring those animations from single player that you already have and put them on multiplayer. I want to grab my weapon from the saddle. I don't want it popping out of nowhere just because I'm standing next to my horse. Another animation that Rockstar decided to remove from multiplayer for zero reason was the finishing off a dying animal animation. And this isn't just an animation, it's actually important for gameplay, because if you let the animal bleed out, you lose honor. If you shoot the animal again to put it out of its misery, you ruin the quality. So Rockstar, there is no reason why you should have this animation not present in online, because it actually is negatively impacting gameplay. Now that I'm on the topic of things that ruin gameplay, Rockstar, there is no reason why people outside of my posse can't just sit on the back of my horse. So for those of you who don't know, currently, if you want somebody to get on a horse with you, they can't. They must be in your posse, otherwise they'll automatically hijack you and kick you off your horse. In Grand Theft Auto Online, this wasn't even an issue. They just made it so you held down the button to hijack the person, or you press the button to get in the car with them. That's all you need to do, Rockstar. Just make it so when I press the button, I get on the back of somebody's horse. If I hold down the button, then I hijack them. Just do it like you did with Grand Theft Auto. With the addition of the hunting wagon, there's an even worse interaction between you and other players, where other players can't even put stuff in the back of your hunting wagon, even if they're in your posse. Rockstar, just make it so people can put stuff in my wagon. Oh, but don't even worry about hunting. You can't even really do that properly now. I know you're probably expecting me to complain about animal spawning rates, but I'm not going to, because Rockstar already knows it's a problem and they're trying to fix it. So it'll get fixed eventually, as long as they know that it is a problem. But what they don't know is a problem is the animal spawn locations. So currently right now, if you want to kill a moose, what do you think you're going to go? Up into the grizzlies? No, they don't spawn there at all. There's only one location, and that's a little bit north of Brandywine Drop. You can only kill a moose there. That's it. Same thing goes with a panther. I think there's one location for panthers to spawn. What I want Rockstar to do is increase the spawns and let animals spawn at different locations. So moose can spawn in the grizzlies. Like, there's a picture of a moose in the grizzlies during a loading screen. Why don't we have moose in the grizzlies? Come on, Rockstar. It's like so simple. Expand the locations where certain species can spawn. Don't let them stay so rigid. So far, everything I've talked about can be pretty easily changed, since it already was in Red Dead Online in the first place. They literally just need to undo what they did. But this change actually messes with the world, and it might not be feasible. But I'm gonna suggest it anyway. Every single chair in the world is not sittable. Make it so. I want to sit on every single chair, that's got enough room for my butt. I want to sit on it, okay? What I'm requesting here might seem kind of absurd, but I'm being serious. Being able to sit on every chair and bench will actually go very far when it comes to making me feel I can interact with each and every part of this world. I see no reason why I shouldn't be able to sit on this chair, and it really is upsetting me. I just want to sit here and look at Big Valley, but I can't because Rockstar just decided not to let me sit here. They already have the animations, they can do it. It shouldn't be too hard, Rockstar. This is probably one of the biggest changes that Rockstar could make, but they need to add a free aim mode. I'll go into the details in a few moments, but first I need to say, Rockstar, you already had the ability for us to do free aim GTA Online lobbies. There should be zero reason why we can't do that right now on Red Dead Online. Zero reason, Rockstar. You already have certain playlists for free aim. Why do we not have free aim lobbies yet? Get on that. We want free aim, free roam lobbies. Okay, now I'm gonna go into detail. So first, free aim will make the game a whole lot more fun. It will improve the gunplay because you are no longer having the game do all the work for you. It's really that simple. I think when they're doing the changes, they also can reduce the aim assist. So right now your aim assist is all the way at the top, but they should reduce the aim assist maybe halfway or a little bit less than halfway to make aiming actually a thing in this game. I don't want the game automatically aiming at everything for me. They also need to remove the scope aim assist, so if you're at long range, you actually need to be a marksman in order to hit your target rather than having it help you with aim assist. Another thing they need to do to make free aim lobbies great is remove the aim sway. And aim sway is when your character is just randomly aiming up and down, left and right with no input because they're getting shot at. That doesn't make any sense, Rockstar. Nobody aims worse when they're getting shot at. That's not how it works. Remove aim sway, the gameplay will improve, and the gunplay will improve. Free aim lobbies will improve a ton of interactions between you and the world, or you and other players. Let me give you a few examples. The most common example is two people passing each other on a pathway. Let's say they're both on horses and they each have somewhere to go. One person is a griefer, so them being the asshole that they are, they literally just whip out their weapon, auto-aim to the head, and shoot the person who's trying to ride by peacefully. But in free aim, that will be almost impossible for somebody to do with such ease. They have to actually aim at the person, and if they start shooting, then the person who is trying to be peaceful, trying to not get into conflict, can either just ride away, or they now have an opportunity to shoot back without just getting plugged in the head due to zero skill on the aggressor's part. So now with free aim lobbies, griefing will be vastly reduced, most likely. And that's not even taking into account the griefers that just won't play free aim mode, because everybody knows that griefers don't want to actually use skill in order to kill somebody, they just want the game to do everything for them. Another example of why free aim lobbies are a no-brainer is that hunting will be vastly improved. With free aim lobbies, people will no longer be able to just go around on horseback, headshotting every single deer with auto-lock. They will actually have to properly hunt by stalking and lining up the shot to get that perfect pelt. Could you imagine how scary and immersive it's going to be to hunt a puma or a bear because you can't just auto-lock onto their head and shoot them with one bullet? You will actually have to aim and kill them before they kill you. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I really want Rockstar to add free aim servers. Now I know free aim servers aren't going to be the perfect utopia that I've pretended they are so far, because there are going to be a few issues if we take the game as is and just make it free aim. So I'm going to suggest other changes right now that can remedy the problems that free aim might cause. For example, when you're in a fight with another player in auto-lock lobbies, which is every lobby right now, you automatically lock onto the player and you shoot them off the horse most of the time. But without auto-lock, shooting a player off of a horse is going to be very difficult, most of the time not even achievable. Now people are going to be required to shoot a horse because it's a bigger target to get the rider off of that horse. In order for this combat interaction between players to remain fun for everybody involved, Rockstar needs to remove the penalty for killing another player's horse, which means remove the honor decrease and remove the cost for insurance. Obviously, the drawback to this would be that players kill other players' horses just willy-nilly because they have no penalty doing so, but I want this change to be only possible to players who are red towards each other already, which means they've already attacked each other and they've already agreed to fight each other. If you die to somebody and you don't want to fight them, you're just going to parlay, so you won't be red to that other person ever if you don't want to be. If two players are red towards each other on the minimap, that means they want to fight, and we shouldn't let the horses get in the way and penalize them just for them trying to kill each other. If you played free aim with a controller at least, I'm not sure how this would work on PC, but you would understand that it's almost impossible to shoot somebody off of their horse, and you would just shoot their horse instead. So people should not be penalized just for fighting each other. Remove the horse penalty when players are red towards each other. Another issue I can already see happening exclusive to free aim lobbies is going to be bird hunting. Currently, the only way to retain a bird's quality is by using the varmint rifle. You are not going to be able to shoot birds out of the sky with a varmint rifle in free aim. I just don't see it happening as consistently as you're going to want it to. So what Rockstar needs to do is change the shotgun specifically. Shotgun range should be much farther, but obviously make the damage drop-off still terrible against humans and other animals. However, against birds, the damage drop-off should almost be negligible, so you can still one-shot a bird who's in flight at a decent range with a shotgun, and make it so the shotguns will still retain the quality of the pelt. They don't reduce quality by killing a bird with a shotgun. It actually baffles me that this wasn't the way it worked in Red Dead before, because that's how people hunt birds in real life, they use a shotgun. So just make that change, Rockstar, the world will be a lot more immersive, and hunting birds will be a whole lot more fun. There's probably going to be a bunch of other different problems in free aim lobbies that aren't present in lock-on lobbies, but this last one that I'm going to talk about is a big one. In order to make free aim lobbies actually work properly, they need to reduce the health of AI enemies, specifically the human AI enemies. In GTA Online, the way they increase the difficulty for most missions is just make the enemies really beefy. It is so frustrating when you shoot somebody in the head, they fall on the ground, and then you have to shoot 10 million more times before they're finally dead and they're just lying there taking a million bullets. Rockstar, you cannot have that in Red Dead Online. You need enemies to take a few bullets and they die, okay? So if I'm shooting somebody 3 times while they're on the ground, that's not fun. That's not okay. Make it so enemies can actually die faster in free aim lobbies. And the issue with enemies being way too tanky in Red Dead Online actually ties in directly to the next problem that Rockstar needs to fix. The reason why enemies are probably so tanky is because Rockstar thought that everybody was going to be running damage ability cards versus AI. But there's a major flaw with that, because Rockstar needs to remove every single ability card in the game or rework them to the point that they don't even resemble what they currently are. The ability cards are awful. I hate all of them because all they do is either make you tankier or make you do more damage. The collection of abilities in this game are probably the laziest I've ever seen designed anywhere. All these abilities do is either increase damage or decrease the damage you take. Not only does that mean they're creatively bankrupt, but they ruin the combat in the game. Every time you fight somebody, you expect them to have a certain amount of health. You expect them to die a certain way, and you expect them to also have the same ability to kill you. If you see them holding a rolling block rifle, you need to think, oh dang, if I get shot in the upper chest, I'm going to die in one hit. However, that doesn't apply when you have ability cards. Most of the time, all that matters in combat is whether or not your opponent had their Deadeye on at this certain time when you guys were engaging. That's it. It's not actually whether or not you guys were skillful and you out-positioned each other and outplayed each other, outshot. All it is did they activate their ability in time, or did they have the correct abilities versus my abilities? We aren't playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Rockstar. The cards that people have in their hands before engaging in a fight should not be the only determining factor of who is the victor. This is especially terrible because people look the same no matter what ability cards they have. The ability cards don't determine your appearance, so in order for you to figure out what ability cards people have, you have to go into the menu, go to their name, and then look at the ability cards that they have. It's terrible game design. Remove the ability cards and refund everybody. Or rework them, and I'll give you a few ideas on how to do so. When looking at these abilities, I'm immediately reminded of Hunt Showdown, because both the artwork for Red Dead Online ability cards and the Hunt Showdown abilities are actually really cool, and I love the art style. But art style aside, what does Hunt Showdown do differently in terms of gameplay for these abilities that Red Dead doesn't? Well, the most important thing that Hunt Showdown doesn't do is that they don't just increase damage or decrease damage taken for their abilities. Some of their abilities do decrease damage from certain types, like there's an ability that decreases fall damage, but I'm sure you understand the difference of fall damage versus damage from getting shot at by other players. But the most important thing about Hunt Showdown's abilities is that they don't make playstyles viable just by increasing damage given or decreasing damage taken if you're holding a specific weapon or aiming down a scope. That's not how they work. Let me give you a great example of one of the most fun abilities to use in Hunt Showdown. It's the fanning ability. Now, yes, technically that does increase damage, but it doesn't just make a number go higher. What it does is make you fire faster while in hip fire for a pistol. You're fanning the hammer, which is why it's called fanning. The reason why it's such a good design is because it doesn't just mean that you win by equipping that ability. Because if you're close range, sure, you're a lot more powerful than you would be firing your pistol normally. However, the pistol is way more inaccurate, so if you're going up against somebody who's at a little bit farther range, they can just aim and shoot you twice, and with most weapons you'll be dead. Or players will not want to get in close range against you because they can see that you're holding the hammer with your left hand, so they know that you're going to be ready to fan them when they turn around a corner in close range. So they'll try to engage you at a specific distance because your animations change. This ability benefits a close range playstyle when you have your pistol out. But if this were Rockstar trying to achieve the same effect with an ability card of their own, all they would do is increase damage for pistols at close range. So when creating ability card, we need to make sure that we try to open up a different playstyle without just increasing damage given or decreasing damage taken. So just one idea for an ability card that could make a playstyle really fun, while at the same time not just increasing damage, could be an ability called blind fire, where while you're behind cover, you have the ability to just blind fire your weapon by holding down the trigger or You could still aim if you want to aim by pressing the aim button and shooting at your opponent. But while blind firing, you're not exposing your entire body, you're just exposing your hand and your gun, albeit with much, much, much worse accuracy. As you level up the ability, the accuracy could get better and better, but still much worse than if you were aiming your gun and actually shooting at the opponent from behind cover. With the addition of this ability, it helps people who play behind cover. They're not going to get rushed nearly as much because the closer people who are rushing them get to them, the more likely they are to get plugged by multiple bullets from blind fire, while not being able to return the same amount of deadly bullets, because all they would be doing is hitting the person's hand who's behind cover, as opposed to being able to shoot their head or their body because they're not exposing themselves to damage. At least not exposing themselves to deadly damage, because all that would be getting hit is their hand. So the addition of this ability opens up a whole new playstyle for people who are trying to defend themselves from behind cover. Not only that, but since Rockstar would have to add new animations for people using blind fire, opponents will now recognize exactly what's happening. You could see, oh dang, this person has on blind fire, so I need to approach slowly. Maybe I could throw dynamites to flush them out. Maybe I can just shoot at their hand to slowly chip away at their health because I'm much more accurate than they are. Now combat scenarios are made a lot more interesting for both parties, and that's just with the addition of an ability card. And ability cards don't always have to change animations or add new animations for that matter. There's an ability in Hunt Showdown called Bolt Sear, where when you go into Dark Sense, you can see the crossbow bolts and the throwing knives that you missed, and you can see them on the ground because they're glowing while in Dark Sense. Rockstar could just have the exact same ability in Red Dead Online. They have Hunter's Sense already, so if you miss a shot with your bow and arrow or you miss your throwing knife, you can go into Hunter's Sense and you can find your arrow or find your throwing knife on the ground. Another ability Rockstar could have is that you're less likely to damage an animal's quality if you don't hit them in their vital spot. But I'm not saying that these abilities have to be in the game, I'm saying that if the ability cards were reworked, this is what they probably should look like. But first and foremost, Rockstar needs to delete the ability cards from the game. They need to remove them. They have to be gone, they are terrible. And only after that point, if they do want to add ability cards back into the game, they need to set a rule for themselves that if any ability card they want to make says increase damage given or decrease damage taken, then they need to scrap that ability right away because it's never going to be a good one. So in conclusion, when it comes to the ability cards, Rockstar, remove them and refund everybody. They are terrible for the game. If you really want to add ability cards back into the game, then make them interesting, not the current increase, decrease damage shit we have right now. Okay? Okay. So when it comes to combat, one of the biggest problems besides ability cards is the movement. Currently and online, you move way too fast when aiming your gun. Rockstar needs to just completely revert it back to the way it is in single player. The only reason why you should be moving fast while shooting at the same time is if you're hip firing, because that means that you're trying to cover yourself. You should not be aiming with precision accuracy while moving at such a high speed that characters do already in online. Look at this, look at how crazy it is. And to take it one step further, people who are aiming down a scoped weapon should not be able to move as fast as they do even in single player. Currently, even in single player, I think that you move much faster than you ought to be able to while aiming down a scoped weapon. Because not only is it pretty unrealistic to be able to move that fast while aiming a scoped weapon and keeping it accurate, but also the balance is way off because people who are at long range can just move left and right really quickly while also being a massive threat to people who don't have the exact same ranged options. Oh, and if these speed changes are reduced, then Rockstar needs to make sure they normalize them between first person and third person. Currently in GTA Online, when people are having a sniper battle, they switch to first person because for some odd reason you're allowed to strafe faster while in first person, as opposed to you are a third person with a scope. So what Rockstar needs to do is just normalize the speed between first person and third person, and everything should be fine. And besides combat changes, there's other quality of life changes that they can make to improve immersion by quite a bit. The second holster, players are not allowed to remove it for some unknown reason, so if you buy a second holster and you equip it, you're stuck with it for the rest of your game. You cannot change that unless you start a new character and you just don't buy the second holster, which I didn't make the mistake of doing. I like the way my character looks with just one holster, so for everybody else, they should have the ability to remove that second holster. That's not even present in single player, and I don't know why, so Rockstar, just give people the ability to remove that second holster. There's no reason why they should have to keep it on their belt when they don't want it on there. Another change they have to make is the weather being appropriate for each location. When I'm in the Grizzlies, you know, the mountains that are covered in snow, and it starts raining, a part of me dies every single time I see it. You already have it work perfectly in single player. When I go up into the Grizzlies, there's actually snowstorms. When I go into New Austin, there's sandstorms. Why can Minecraft pull this off properly in multiplayer, but you guys can't? I don't understand. Rockstar, just make it so that the weather changes depending on the location that it is in. You don't have it raining in the West Grizzlies in the single player. There's a reason for that. Make it the exact same in Red Dead Online, and I'll be just fine. And just a few more quality of life changes, like making it so that your hunting wagon or your bounty wagon can follow you just like your horse does currently. That would be much appreciated. And other changes they can make are changes to outfits, for example, that don't let you change certain parts of them, like outfits that don't let you change the pants when they easily should. For example, this one, I can't change the pants, but I should. It's right there. Regular pants, just let me change it, Rockstar. Come on, it's an easy quality of life change to make. And with that, I've exhausted my list of problems I have with Red Dead Online. Now obviously these aren't the only changes I want them to make to the game, there's a whole lot more that I could list off, but these are the main ones I think that really impact immersion, fun, and also these are changes that Rockstar could easily make just by tweaking a few things. But not only are these changes easy to make, but also these changes would benefit Rockstar themselves. For example, adding in free aim lobbies creates a whole lot more opportunities for Rockstar to charge gold bars from people. How so? Well, people in free aim lobbies are going to just take a lot longer doing the same thing that people in lock-on lobbies are. It's just a fact. People in free aim lobbies are not going to be able to wipe out enemy encampments nearly as fast. Or they're not going to be able to hunt the same amount of animals nearly as quickly as they used to. Which means missions are going to take them longer, and in general it's going to take them a lot longer to earn the same amount of money that they used to. In turn, making it so that they're more likely to buy gold bars. Rockstar, you want people buying gold bars, right? Adding free aim lobbies is in your best interest. Changing the ability cards will also benefit Rockstar. Right now, players only buy slow and steady, for example, and stick with it. All they do is buy that one card and upgrade it, and then don't buy anything else, because why would they need anything else than slow and steady? If you have ability cards, for example the blind fire one, or the hunting one that doesn't decrease pelt quality, then players will buy both ability cards because they want different abilities while they're hunting as opposed to fighting other players or AI. And players will switch around ability cards to make specific loadouts for specific situations. So Rockstar, if you make appropriate changes to all the ability cards, you will make more money. I kind of feel scummy for trying to appeal to Rockstar's greedy nature, but we all know that Rockstar only will ever make changes if it benefits them. And Rockstar, a lot of these changes have the potential to benefit your guys' bottom line. So make the changes, Rockstar. Just do it. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to list off a bunch of my grievances with the game and hopefully get Rockstar's attention so they could make these changes, because I really want to immerse myself in Red Dead Online. And a big part of that immersion starts with just holding forward on the analog stick.